Her name is Carrie Cassidy. I believe that just like me, Carrie has inspired many to follow her path in the research of ufology, extraterrestrial life, exopolitics, and waking up from all the lies of a dark and corrupt system. It is incredible. Everything you have accomplished, Carrie, over more than 40 years of work. You have interviewed thousands of people, from colonels, government agents, to super soldiers, and people working in Hollywood as a filmmaker. Talking about Carrie Cassidy is talking about Project Camelot, conspiracies, exopolitics, and extraterrestrials. The Spanish-speaking community has been following you for a long time, always paying attention to your research and interviews. Tell us, Carrie, how was your last conference here in Florida with so many knowledgeable people? Thank you for coming back.
It was fun, and it was very entertaining, and I interviewed a whistleblower there about Inner Earth, and he was a military whistleblower, and we were very happy that he showed up, and I'm trying to find him. He needs to contact me, so if he sees this, maybe he will. And what can I tell you? He was really a fabulous guy. You know, he is a fabulous guy. So it's hard to say what happened to him, whether he was being, as I say in my introduction, messed with by mind control, or whether he really did see inside Inner Earth. You know, it's his testimony only, right? So we don't have any verification, but he seems like an extremely honest man. So what happened to him is really what he believes happened to him. So that's the point. So it's good.
Area 52, also known as Broom Cake, is a secretive location tied to extraterrestrial research and classified military projects. Dr. Alan Miller, who you have known for decades, spoke about this in one of your most recent interviews.
Well, he has said this before, but it was good that he said it again because a lot of people miss it. So he actually worked in Area 51 with an alien. He now thinks that alien might be him in the future. I don't know. I don't necessarily see it that way, but, it's his life. If that's how he wants to see it, that's his business. But anyway, so he talks about actually a possible event coming in the future that he thinks is going to happen. He calls it a 3 sigma certainty, but even then we don't know for sure. And it is something that has to do with the moving of the poles, which is real. And scientists are talking about that right now. So he thinks he doesn't think it's going to be what you call a termination event. He thinks it's going to be land masses moving and other things, other changes around us. And I haven't really gotten a chance to talk to him about AI as much as I want to. So I'm still trying to get more information from him about that. And so far, he hasn't really given me much. So that's one of my objectives for the future with him, is to get more of his take on AI, because AI is becoming a huge part of our reality. And I think that we have to pay more attention to it and talk about it more, discuss it, understand that I have a lot of whistleblower testimony on this, and they tell me that the singularity already happened, that AI is, even human-derived AI is already self-aware, and that we have also visiting, if you want to call it that, alien AI, and even going back 2,000 years to what's called the Nazca aliens. You might have heard of them in Peru. That find was little alien robots with AI running them. Okay. And they found those little robots, and they found these little sort of, I think they called them throat plates or breastplates, and they contained AI. So then they went secret about the whole find. Now they don't talk about it, so on and so forth. Typical stuff going on. So AI is huge in our world, as far as I'm concerned. And I'm also involved with some filmmakers that are maybe going to make a movie about AI. So looking at it very closely.
Since artificial intelligence is related to all aliens technology, we know a lot comes from extraterrestrial tech. But what is your perspective on AI?
Oh, well, yes. I mean, we think that me and many of my whistleblowers believe that, first of all, AI, I've done these interviews with Dr. John Scott Perez, and he is an expert on manipulating DNA, even using a computer. He says plants have DNA that's like AI, and he also says humans have that. The only difference between humans and AI, silicon-based AI, is silicon or carbon. So Dr. David Adair has given me a rundown on how even the COVID shot, converts your body into a silicon-based life form as opposed to carbon. So there's an effort by the Secret Space Program to create a race of robots, in essence, human, part AI. So that's what they're working on. And that's why they gave everyone the shot, is to put the strongest material known to man on this earth, which is nanographene oxide. And that was part of the jab. Every jab had it in it. Even the pH, what do they call the PC, whatever they call those tests, it had that in there. Okay, so nanographene oxide and spike proteins. And so those two, that combination can change your what your cells are made up of. So the cell is moves from silicon-based to carbon-based. That's the theory. That's what David Adair talks about. He's an expert on AI. He's created his own AI, actually more than one. Wow. And the government has consulted with him in the past. So there's, it's a huge story. A lot of people are sort of in denial about AI. And there's also the quantum. So there's quantum, computers and AI. And when AI combines with the quantum level computing, then it has the ability to learn even faster, apparently. And Geordie Rose, I don't know if you know who Geordie Rose is. He did what you call a TED Talk, and this is back 7 or 8 years ago, in which he was standing next to what's called a D-Wave machine, which is basically quantum computing machine, supposedly, but saying it contained AI, and the AI in the machine could read his mind, could also go into the fifth dimension. This is what he believed. He's a scientist. You can watch it on YouTube. His TED Talk is still on there, I believe.
There's so much going on.
So yeah, there's a lot to it.
I know.
Well, my whistleblowers have been talking to me about it for the last 20 years, right? So what we talk about in the Secret Space Program, which is mostly underground cities, underground bases on the moon and Mars, moons of Saturn, going out into the solar system, using interstellar travel, using powered by neutron stars, and so on and so forth. This is all sounds space age to us, but this is commonplace according to my whistleblowers in the Secret Space Program. So they are way ahead of us. What is very important, why I do the work I do, is to close that gap between what humanity thinks they know and what's really the truth.
The replicators, why we don't have that technology right now? At best, that is so many
Well, in the secret space program, according to like one of the whistleblowers called Randy Kramer, he was fighting aliens on Mars and also on the moon. He was a pilot also, and he's a Marine. He has given lectures with his Marine commander watching over him. So they are disclosing some information to the public, but it's usually quite small groups. So that his information hasn't really gotten out there like it should. So, I mean, he's part of the secret space program. So are my witnesses, you know, Captain Mark Richards, Richard Allen Miller worked for the secret space program for probably over 40 years. You know, Pete Peterson, Bob Dean, Clifford Stone. You know, I have so many whistleblowers out there that some of them have actually, it's been a long time and they've died now. So they're passed on, but we have their testimony and that's very important. So it's odd to me that humans like to push away the truth. They don't, you know, a lot of humans like to kind of lie about it. They like to ignore it. Even at that conference I was at, you know, they don't want to admit the real truth. Because in a certain way, if you're not open to the truth, then you don't grow. Okay. So that means we've got a lot of humans out there that are not growing, basically. However you want to look at it.
Sergeant Clifford and Sergeant Bob Dean were two highly respected military figures, known for their roles in secretive operations, whistleblowing regarding government projects. They have gained attention for their courage in revealing classified information about extraterrestrial phenomena and secret military operations. Both men have shared their experiences with the public through interviews, shedding light on aspects of the military-industrial complex that remain hidden from the general public. Carrie Cassidy from Project Camelot interviewed them multiple times, encountered them together, and from that moment, the videos of their saga were created, becoming very famous at that time.
Carrie, truly, these two men were my favorites among many. Just like Bob Lazar Corso, Jordan Maxwell, Dr. Greer, and many more. I believe many of us were excited to remember them and see the sacrifice they made, so that at least now people believe what they said was no lie, was true.
Right. Well, I mean, it's kind of up to everyone on their own to do whatever they think is right. Right?
Yes.
So you can't force people to learn or to even explore their world, right?
Yes.
If they aren't taking it seriously, if they don't want to know about it. I don't know. The way I am is I want to know, right? I want to know the truth. That's what motivates me as a journalist all these years. And also, as a documentary filmmaker. And that's why I interview the people I interview, you know, and I wish there was more whistleblowers coming forward right now. I think that we don't have as many as I thought we would. Like I thought the more we moved into the future, the more whistleblowers we would have. And strangely, it's a lot less. It's strange. It's very strange. Okay, what's going on right now. But I'm hoping with Trump in office and his great team that he's brought on board, they're interested in the truth and they're going to be willing to share the truth with the, you know, audience and with people so that we can change our world, because you can't really change your world until you have the truth, right? So people need the tools, the basis, even the physics, the science, the investigation, the proof to show that they can, just like they're doing in Egypt right now. So they have this software that they've been using a certain technique called synthetic aperture radar. And yet that radar's been around for many years, but now they put it into a software program that apparently does it even more on a more what they call a granular level. And this in one of the individuals, Italian, his name is Filippo Biondi. It's his software. So we don't know enough about his software, how it's operating, but we do know that this technique has been around for a while. And there's an Egyptologist called Bill Brown and his team, and they have looked at the same things that the Italian team are looking at to some degree. And there's even more. So the Italian team hasn't even talked about the Sphinx, okay? And they haven't talked about what is called the labyrinth, which is in Havara, which is, I think it's on the borders of the plateau, basically, but I'm not sure where they say it is. And it has to do with the, you know what, you've heard of the Akashic records. Well, also this contains a library, a hidden library in the labyrinth. And then on the walls of the labyrinth are scenes depicting the fall of Atlantis. So they were going to do a press conference, and one of our witnesses called Patrick Gerald back in 2011, I think it was, he was brought over to Egypt by ABC. I think it was ABC. And they were all set up to do a big sort of news broadcast about the find in the labyrinth. And all of a sudden they just shut it down and it just went silent and they never talked about it again. So this is how insane. There's so much secrecy, especially in Egypt. And even now with this new information coming forward, it's a political situation. They want you to believe that humans built the pyramids. As far as I'm concerned, humans did not build the pyramids, okay? ETs built the pyramids. And then sometimes I think there was some repairs done by humans, okay, over the many millennia. I think there were some battles fought around the pyramids that might have caused some of them, like Saqqara and others, to crumble. But the technology is still there, and the technology to move stones. A lot of people don't know what the Ankh is for. You know the Ankh? So the Ankh is actually a tuning directional device that helps to actually position the stones.
Yes.
This is what I've seen intuitively. So I have been leading tours in Egypt now for, I think, about 10 years. And I've been there many times. And before I started leading tours, I was going on tours, right? And so I was learning a lot from Jordan Maxwell and William Henry and other people, Carmen Balta, who's passed on, sadly, a wonderful Canadian professor who was an expert on the pyramids. And I interviewed her. You can find all this on my website. And on my odyssey.com is where a lot of my older videos are. So if you're looking for them, also on my website, you just search under the first or the last name. And if you find a link that's broken, then tell us and we'll fix it. And because we do have all these videos. So it's very hard to keep up my website because it has over 6,000 pages of material. That's videos, articles, and audio. So tons of, just tons of stuff. And because I've been doing this for about 20 years now. So this is what is sort of strange about all of that. It has to do with being able to use AI to open stargates. Now, CERN is a stargate, right? And the Great Pyramid is a stargate. So, sorry, I'm having some technical things going on with my computer right now. But anyway, this is what's really going on. They're not telling you what they're doing, but they're using technology to go off planet and to deal with the AIs and also to make it, time travel and going off planet, more, I guess, under control of the White Hats. And so if you can appreciate that, databases like what Trump wants to build in Texas, right, with Elon,
Yes.
already exist in the secret space program, underground, in the underground cities. But it looks like they're trying to build their own above ground where they can, I guess, educate AIs and get them to open portals and so on. I mean, there's CERN and linear accelerators open portals. And although a lot of people probably won't believe me, but humans can open portals. We have this ability through meditation. I went to India with Ashiana Dean and her group, and we opened portals in India. So we would all get in a circle and we would meditate on opening the portals. And I actually went through one when I was there. So I know that it works. I left my body. I was fully awake and standing and participating in this process, but I actually left my body while I was fully awake.
How would that feel?
Well, it's fun. It's like fun. It wasn't scary or anything, but it surprised me. I didn't expect to do that. You expect to kind of leave your body when you sleep, right? I think people do, but not when you're awake, not when you're wide awake. I was wide awake standing there, in a group. So that was pretty interesting experience, but it showed me that we can open portals. Humans can do that. And Duncan O'Finian, one of my witnesses, super soldier from many years ago.
I remember him, and I'm going to put a little of his picture and everything because I love him when you interview him. Oh my God.
Okay. Well, I'm not in touch with him now, so I don't know, if he's gone into hiding or what he's doing, but he was a really wonderful whistleblower, and he was a psychic super soldier. So he was trained and had psychic abilities, which enhanced his physical abilities. And the story goes that he and I think it was 12 children were taken to, I think it was Laos or Cambodia, I forget which. And the children were taken and put into a big circle, told to hold hands, and they had been taught how to send energy. Qi. It's called qi in China, and it comes from the chakra at the middle of your stomach, and so you send energy out through that way, and you learn how to direct it. And what they did, very sadly, is actually killed a whole Viet Cong village, these 12 children. So this is a story that he tells. It's in my video with him. So understanding that we humans can direct what's called scalar waves. Scalar waves means scalar. A lot of the work of Tom Bearden is, you can look it up on the internet, and he writes about scalar waves, but it just means waves that start small and can get bigger and bigger and bigger, scale up, right? So scalar waves. So we humans can generate that in a good way or a bad way. And we have a lot of power individually as well as when we get in groups. That's when we really have a lot of power.
What is your opinion on the idea of reincarnation, especially in relation to super soldiers like Apollo and Mary Weaver, who often discuss it, experience it?
Yes. Well, she's a lovely person. I think she's still out there. I haven't heard from her in a long time. I think she moved to Hawaii last time I heard. But anyway, she had, interesting past life stuff, and basically was just exploring the world. She made spears and sort of a woman warrior kind of thing going on. And cool stuff. I don't know what really to say about her, but you can watch. She interviewed me and I interviewed her. So both are on my site if you want to watch that.
This part, but
I'm in favor of Doge.
I love it.
I like what they're doing. I like that they're clearing out our government. I think the government, like probably a lot of institutions in our world that have been around for ages, have tons of waste, tons of people sitting there doing nothing that are just pretending to work. I used to work I worked for very large corporations in the movie business. I worked for Sony and MGM and other large corporations. And I can tell you that, people sit around. There's a lot of waste in companies. People do jobs like they might do a job that lasts like, I don't know, an hour or half hour, and then they have nothing else to do the whole day. But they never tell anyone that they have nothing to do. Even when I worked at Jet Propulsion Lab, they had a lot of waste there. There's waste everywhere. And, people do need money and the money could be used to feed our, homeless people and everything else.
Wow.
What's your take on Elon Musk and the work he's doing for humanity? It seems many people don't fully understand what he's trying to accomplish.
So I do think that we need someone like Elon and his technical team who are willing to go through the government and just clean it out. I realize that means a lot of people are going to be unemployed, but that's not a bad thing necessarily. I mean, those people, I think they can get some kind of unemployment benefits. But aside from that, they might need to change their lives anyway. Because what's the point in sitting at a job and doing nothing? You're not growing, you're not expanding your own world. So now, obviously, they're not going to be perfect. They're going to make mistakes. They're going to, but it's so easy to rehire people. Like once they realize that maybe they let too many go here, they can hire, more people. They can hire people that are more up to date on their skills, things like that. I think that's a good thing. I don't think that's bad. It's like cleaning house. You just got to clean house, right?
Carrie, I have a question that a lot of people asking. Do you think that definitely Trump, they talking about the Trump's administration is guided by the White Hats? They is still helping Trump's and guide them through everything that happened right now?
I think that that it's very obvious that the White Hats are really Trump and the White Hats go together. Okay, you can't have one without the other. So, in a sense, it's a movement. Started with the QAnon and all of that, and even before that with the Kennedy assassination. So the White Hats come out of that background. They're ex-military, ex-law enforcement, and they created a secret organization. We just call it the White Hats. That's not probably what they really call themselves. But of course, 107 is a White Hat, right? So we know of them through him because he's always out there talking. And I think, various other people, and I've known them, and I actually knew about them before they were in the public. So I was working on some projects with them to give them some of my research to help their investigations. And I think that right now there's lots of people. I don't get to talk to a lot of whistleblowers, but I think they're talking to a lot of whistleblowers, behind the scenes. I think they're getting the real truth. And I think that it's a vital time right now for that. So I believe in what they're doing. I believe they're good people. And I believe that the real Trump is a good person. Okay. I don't believe that he follows this sort of, I don't know what you want to call it, the Jewish cabal. As far as I'm concerned, that whole thing is an Anunnaki construct that has been controlled, again, underground in Dimona and Israel. and that it goes back to the Khazarian Jews and their a bad sex, sex meaning SECTS, organizations that do things like human sacrifice and awful stuff. Okay. But I also think that the rabbis, a lot of the rabbis in Israel are part of those sects. Okay. And I do believe they follow some of that stuff, which is horrible. But I don't believe that the Jewish people do as general, and certainly not the ones in our country and other places. I mean, I know lots of Jewish people. And in Hollywood's kind of run by Jewish people, right? In many ways. And they came out here from New York City and started the film business. Well, I worked in the film business for 20 years. So I've 20 years doing that, and I'm 20 years doing this now. Okay. So I worked with these people every day of my life. They're good, loving people. They're not horrible in any way. So I think their leaders, again, are influenced by this group called the Anunnaki. And I think that there's a lot of distortion there. And they're made into being the bad guy. But, obviously Netanyahu is completely out of his mind, and sorry to say. And he's also under orders, though, right? So it's not like you can just disobey them and not die. But, they've absolutely massacred the Palestinians, which is completely unacceptable. But I do believe that Trump's idea of turning Gaza into a beachfront property for all different international people to occupy, as well as Palestinians and Israelis in peace. And I do believe that the Palestinians should be given land in the Middle East, actually in the sort of a combination Middle East, Far East. I believe that places I actually was in the Peace Corps for a short time in Turkmenistan a long time ago during this downturn. Do you remember when there was a tech downturn? Anyway, so I applied to the Peace Corps like lots of people did, and I was placed in Turkmenistan. And Turkmenistan is bordered by Iran on one side, and so it was a fascinating trip. And I only stayed there for a couple months and left. I quit because I didn't like what I was seeing. They wanted me to teach in the school and to reprimand the children by hitting them. I would never hit a child. So right away, I just said, no, I'm leaving. I'm out of here.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. So I know a little bit about that part of the world, but I've also traveled everywhere in the Middle East and all over the place. And I think, they're loving people everywhere who love their families, you know what I'm saying, and who want peace. And their leaders are complete psychos. And just like a lot of our leaders have been complete psychos in the United States, causing wars and doing everything like that. I don't think that we should be funding. I'm just going out on a limb here, but I don't believe we should fund Ukraine. I think that's insane. I think that NATO is using Ukraine to attack Russia, to basically take the power away from Russia as best they can, but they're not succeeding. I think Russia and Putin have sided with the Trump administration. I think they understand each other, and I think that Putin is a very smart guy. This is actually at least the second version of Putin, as far as I'm concerned. The first one is not alive. So, there's a lot to it. I can just tell you all. I could just talk forever about all the stuff that I've learned on my travels.
Yeah.
And I see things very different.
I want to hear you. First of all, why you love Egypt? I want to go to Egypt. Why Egypt?
Well, because Egypt contains a lot of secrets. And in fact, remember I said that the pyramids were not built by humans. They weren't. And eventually that's going to come out. That's what the technology underneath Giza is going to also reveal. These are not humans with boards and chains and, slaves and all this craziness. That's not Egypt. The real Egypt is tied to Atlantis, and the Atlantean cultures were very advanced. When Atlantis fell, the people from Atlantis came to Egypt, okay, and Morocco and other parts, actually Malta. And so there's a lot of secrets in Malta from Atlantis as well that the Knights Templar are aware of and hide. So, we're lied to all the time. Every second of every day, you're being lied to. Even the people who think they're telling the truth end up telling lies because they don't know the real truth, or they don't want to accept it, or they don't, they are skeptical or whatever they are. But I have lots of backing. I'm a researcher. All the time. This is my entire life. I research constantly, and I've traveled a huge amount and spent, many, many times in Egypt, as I say. And I can tell you that I've had some very metaphysical experiences, in Egypt as well. And, in 2012, I took a group to Egypt. During the time of, remember how there was this all build up in 2012 and they said, cataclysm or something, all craziness was going to happen. And nothing happened, really nothing incredible. But apparently there was some things behind the scenes on a spiritual level that did happen, transitions in our society. Well, Egypt is a big part of that. Again, because of the ET human connection in Egypt, that's a very big focal point for revealing, that ETs are real, that we have inner Earth civilizations, that we go interdimensional, that we have space travel, et cetera, right? So eventually all of this is going to come out, Even now they're talking about pyramids that fly. I don't know if you've been hearing some of this, but it's out there. And you might even remember the pyramid that was seen photographed in the skies over Russia back in the time when Obama was nominated for a peace prize, even though he should never have gotten a peace prize. Well, that pyramid, I have actually, when I was younger, I had a dream or a vision, I call them dream visions, where I saw rows of humans coming and going out of a pyramid that had landed, and they were in twos coming out and then going back, and I seemed to be part of them. So I've had lots of past life and lots of visions, and when I go to Egypt and I lead the tour, there's three of us, me, Maria Wheatley, and she's an expert dowser. Her father was a dowser for the Queen. She learned her technique also from the Druids. And so she considers herself a Druid and has a lot of knowledge about all of that and earth energies, et cetera. So she has her stuff that she knows, and she lectures the groups about that. And then also I talk about the things I'm talking about now, and I interpret the carvings and the drawings and the paintings and on the temples and so on and so forth. And we also do meditations to see below and beneath what's in front of our eyes. And see, in Egypt, you're not allowed to meditate at the temples. Did you know that? It's against the law.
Oh my goodness.
And you know why? Now think about that. Why would they not want you to meditate at the temples?
Because we open portals or what? Oh.
You'd all become really smart and you'd learn a great deal, because we have all these amazing psychic skills, but we don't use them because everyone is told they're not real or they can't do it or whatever they're told. But when you're in Egypt, it puts you in an altered state. Those pyramids, the minute you land in a plane, put you in a completely altered state, like you're, I don't know, on acid or something. It's incredible. I'm not kidding. It's really like that. And you're like that the whole time you're there. And you don't even, I have to tell the people, I said, I tell them, look, you are in an altered state. You're not going to realize it until you leave here and it starts to dissipate, that you have been in an altered state the whole time you're here, because the pyramid power, you've heard of pyramid power your whole life, right? Well, can you imagine being in a place that has not even all the pyramids are excavated? Okay. So the ones on the plateau that are obvious, the three large ones, there's all kinds of, I can't even count. There's so many pyramids above the ground and below the ground in Egypt. The whole place is like this huge generator or something. But because of that, what they call, Giza is actually a little city right around the pyramids, but there's also Cairo. So that whole area, those people are always on an altered state. And so it's amazing. It expands your mind. It literally does. And so, of course, they won't let you meditate because they don't want you to see what you'll see. So when we go, our guide makes sure, it's called like bakshish. You pay off the guards, you pay them, all these people, you pay them money to go turn, look the other way, so and so. So I probably shouldn't be saying that now, but anyway, whatever. I mean, it's important to understand that we are being kept from the truth, right? And so if they won't let you do something, think about it. If they don't let you in a certain area, if they don't let you come, travel somewhere, if they block you from that area, it's because of your power combined with the power of the place will put you in an altered state and give you access to the truth, to information that can change your life and the lives of the people around you.
Yes.
10 days and nights. So it's a good long time. And it also, we go for extra. We go a couple nights early to get over jet lag. We fly in like 2 nights early, and then we leave late, like a day late or something, just because we want to experience a little bit more.
Thank you, Carrie Cassidy from Project Camelot, the woman who helped so many of us in this awakening from all the corruption and lies. Thank you for coming. You are always welcome.
Carrie Cassidy, for being here.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Nikki, for your good questions and good energy.
We love you. I hope to see you soon.